webcam today, but that's okay. No cat cam, sorry guys. Alright, so if you're just tuning into the VOD, welcome. Today, for this video, we're gonna have Heimda? I don't know how to say that name. I'm gonna go with Heimda. We're gonna have Heimda playing Taric. This is I think it was 1250 or so ELO game. I don't remember, but right around 1250. So, 1230 ELO. It says so on the banner scrolling at the top of the screen. So, Heimda said that this is one of his first support games. He's been starting to play support a lot more as he's duo queuing with the Ari in this game, Petrifus, and as such his last pick, and often, gets flung into the support role. So, if we look at the lanes that we're going to have bottom, it's going to be Graves and Taric versus Ezreal and Yorick. So the thing with Ezreal and Yorick that you guys are going to have to watch for is they're going to be a very heavy harass lane. They're going to have a lot of poke and a lot of harass. So the first thing is that you might want to talk to your Graves and be like, hey Graves, you should start Boots 3 health potions. Because he's going to need that 3 health potions of sustain. Anytime you're with like a healer, like a Taric or an Alistar or Sona, Soraka, sometimes it's tempted to start with a Doran's Blade because your support can offer you that sustain as an AD. But Taric really is not going to offer very much sustain. Not enough sustain to counteract as an Yorick poke. So this is an okay start. Mana Crystal, 2 Sight Wards, and a Vision Ward. That's okay. I tend to like getting just... it doesn't seem like you have the bonus gold to start Masteries. I like running that. And then just going a Fairy Charm. If you did this setup, you could start with a health potion, and that health potion would be really nice against this lane because they're going to have so much harass that you're going to really appreciate that HP regen. In fact, maybe in this lane you might skip one of your wards and get 2 health potions because they're going to be needed. And that was a really bad face check. You have wards that you can put in, and you don't know where they are, so you just need to assume that they're there. So, and now you should just go back at this point. You have no... See, if you had a potion, you could be setting this up. So yeah, you guys took way too much damage at that level 1. Graves has no sustain. You have no sustain because you took Sun. And you guys have no potion. So this is a mistake in both of your starting items against this matchup. This matchup is just a very harass matchup. That's all they do. So, there's a mistake by you guys to come into lane with no sustain, either of you. So that's your first big mistake. You always want to look at the matchups and figure out what their strengths are and what's going to be the best item to build accordingly. So you want to look at the enemy jungle too to see like when the first gank's coming. So Jin Zhao can gank really early. Like if it starts blue, he can do a level 2 gank on you guys. Since it looks like you're going to be pretty pushed up for a little bit, it would be a safe bet to just go ward your Tribush right now. It would make you really hard to gank. When you're at your turret as support, you want to try to help out your AD last hit. So looks like Graves' Buckshot actually set up the range minions correctly, and it's rough with a melee support, but in general you want to hit the ranged minions once so that the turret hits them once, and then your AD can last hit it. And it's very helpful if the support helps out the ranged AD by doing that. You guys are getting hit by a lot of Ezreal's Qs, and you shouldn't be. It's definitely one mistake. The other thing when you're playing Taric, don't forget about his passive, that you regen mana whenever you attack. So, like these Yorick ghouls that are coming in, you should just be like right-clicking them, trying to get some mana off of them, and whenever it pushes to your turret, you should be trying to hit the melee minions too to just get some mana back. Don't mess up your AD carry's last hits, but you definitely want that, and it'll also help the cooldown on your heal. So.
An enemy has been slain.
So the armor buff will definitely help. Yeah, so be right-clicking those ghouls, though. It'll help you get a lot of mana. That should be like free mana when those ghouls come in. Easy right-clicks for the mana. But one thing I do want to talk about is summoners. I'm a big fan of running Flash Heal now on supports instead of Flash CV. CV has kind of a long cooldown now, and if you have proper ward coverage, like CV is just really not that helpful in many situations. Like you CV'd at the beginning, you didn't even use CV on these bushes, so like that was a situation where CV would have been helpful, and you didn't even use it there. Like I'm gonna try to count how many times you use CV, and it was legitimately helpful this game. Because heal is just so nice to have in lane. It makes you so like they can't fight you if you have heal and they don't have heal. Like you have a bonus like 300 HP on you and like 200 HP on your AD carry if you guys fight and you guys have a heal and they don't. So something to remember. You also always want to look at summoner matchup. Both Graves and Ezreal are running Flash Exhaust, so you and York are both running Flash CV. So identical summoners on the lane. Yeah, and so in this lane, definitely want to level your Q up. You're going to need the sustain, so that's a good decision by you. And this lane would be going so much better for you guys if you just didn't like face check this bush at level 1. That's really set the whole pace for this lane, because you guys have all been forced back to your turret and just lost setting at your turret and playing super passively accordingly. So like you could have just gone back with your Graves. You kind of have an awkward amount to buy, like you wouldn't be able to finish a gold per 10 or anything, but you're doing a good job of trying to get an experience range, which is good. You definitely want to get an experience range. This wave is going to hit your turret pretty soon. Graves might get here in time though to not miss any to the turret. So yeah, he'll miss that first one, but actually I think he got an experience range with that dash. So. That was a big mistake by Graves to Q that minion wave. He just missed so much CS to the turret because he did that. That was bad on the Graves, but that's okay. So one thing you could be doing is you could ward this bush where York keeps hiding in. Yeah, just like that. Good job. This way, just kind of a reminder that he's there, and it's going to be like if you ever push out, he won't be able to sit in there. So I think at this point you guys should start being a little more aggressive. Like you guys definitely have more damage on Ez and York. They have more poke, so the longer you guys sit here and are like afraid to fight them and they keep getting this poke off, they're going to win that lane. But Taric and Graves, you guys are going to be really strong. Like you should just run up and stun Ezreal right now. Get your W offs. If you do a stun, get your W off, and Graves Qs them, that's going to like more than half health to Ezreal. And they have like Ezreal has no sustain. Any damage you get on Ezreal is going to stick permanently. So you guys should not be as afraid as you are right now. Especially since Graves has an item advantage. Like I know you guys at the beginning of the lane, you guys got like scared, and that really set the pace of the lane to where you guys are going to be playing passive. But you need to realize like their strength in this lane lies in their poking. So you guys need to be going. You need to be going right now because the Moomoo's coming, and you don't want to let him blue pill. Alright, so good on Graves, but like, see, you're not here. You're not going to get a stun off. Yeah, you had to flash to get that stun off, and that was completely because you were like last hitting minions while Amumu and Graves were going. So you were just slow on that. You need to you really needed to just be more ready to go. As Taric, you should be like engaging when the jungle comes to gank. You should be up in the front, and you should be the one engaging. So it's unfortunate you had to use your flash to get that stun, but it was still a good kill. So that flash wasn't wasted, but you definitely could have avoided having to use it. So right now you should definitely get a ward up, like on Dragon, while you're pushed out, while you can, and then you also need to back because you have enough for your gold per 10. You're not doing anything right now. This ward should be a Dragon. If this ward get like warding here versus here, the only difference is you see Dragon if you ward it here. You literally lose nothing. Like this ward is just objectively better than this ward, because if you ward right here, you still see this path out of their jungle, and that's all this thing sees. Like if they come through Tribush like this ward isn't even going to see them. All this ward is looking at right now is this ramp. But if you just moved it here, you would see that ramp and Dragon. Yeah, and you need to back. Like, you have enough for your gold per 10. Your AD carry is not in lane. You really need to back right now. There's no reason for you to stay in lane. Like, you're just getting zoned out, and you're just wasting time. When you could have a gold per 10, you could have that income from the gold per 10, and you could have more wards, too. Always stun that AD carry. And use CV right here. If you use CV, you could have, like, Graves would have lived. But because you didn't use CV into that bush and you used it really late, you guys had to just walk into that bush and you guys both died to that. So that could have been 100% avoided if you had CV'd earlier into this bush. It was up, and you just needed a CV in that bush. You also should have stunned Ezreal. So you should always stun the Ezreal. Like, stun the AD carry, because here's the thing. If you stun the support, big deal. A support Yorick doesn't do much damage. If you stun the support, no big deal, because their AD carry is still just going to pump out all that damage. So make sure to stun the support, and you really needed to CV that bush earlier. If you CV'd that bush earlier, Graves would not have had to walk into melee range on Yorick, and Yorick clone, and Ezreal, and all, you know, there are pretty much 3 champions that Graves had to just, like, face check on. So definitely a mistake not CVing that bush earlier. So I'm not even going to count that as one useful use of CV. So okay, so Yorick does pink ward a dragon. You can go counter pink ward that because you still have your pink ward. So to do that, you're going to want to make sure that you're able to really do that. So you guys should fight right now. Like, go stun that Ez and go beat him up. Yeah, but you're too slow. You're too slow. Like, you didn't go in. Like, right when you got there, it looked like Graves kind of was trying to see if you were going to fight, and then you backed off, so he backed off, and then you went in, even though you just backed off. So, but you guys, like, you guys are just so afraid right now, and like, I know they're ahead, but you need to realize that this is a poking lane, and the more you sit back like this and let them do this poking, the faster you guys are going to lose this lane. And then once again, don't stun Yorick. Like, he just used his cooldowns, and then you stunned him. That's fine. He's not doing anything because he just uses cooldowns. So. Yeah, I don't think Amumu had mana for his ulti. Once again though, like, you should be up here. That's the second gank on Amumu where you're really far back and just, like, not with Amumu at all. Like, even if he ultied, you were so far back that it didn't matter. Like, you should be stunning that Ezreal. That stun came out really late. That stun should have came out as soon as he ultied, and if that stun came out earlier, you would have prevented a lot of damage on you. Someone asked, what about heal on the carry and exhaust on the support? That's really good too. I like that a lot. Heal on the carry, if you're going to run heal and exhaust, it probably makes more sense to have heal on the carry and exhaust on the support, because you probably want your carry to get healed for more, so it makes sense for them to have the summoner heal, because exhaust does the exact same thing whether it's on the support or the carry. In general, I don't really like running exhaust anymore. I much prefer running cleanse on carries. Like, on carries, I'd either run heal or cleanse, but yeah, so you should just keep this ordered. Like, you have all these wards in your inventory, you're just not using. So you should either ward this bush or you should be warding tri-bush. Either way, like, wards don't help if they're just sitting in your inventory, so you should definitely be using them. You're low mana, so realize you're low mana, and you only have enough mana to stun. Actually, you could stun Shatter, but you couldn't stun ulti, so you need to realize that. And once again, you're just really slow to react to this Amumu gank. Like, you need to be up here faster. You've had mana for your ulti, and you haven't used it. Like, you chose to heal, but that ulti is so good. Like, it would give everyone 15 AD and AP, and that would be a lot of damage. So I think it's a mistake that you didn't ulti there. CV would, here's another, like, CV would be useful to use right here, so Graves knows if he's running into, like, Jhin or something. You need to be using CV more. Like, just look and be like, right here, when Graves is about to run in this bush, you need a CV here, because, like, for all you know, Jhin could be right here. And then here, like, that flash might have been unnecessary. It looked like Cass, like, backed off, and Like, if she backed off, you could have just kept running this way and gotten away. Because it didn't look like she chased you into here at all. So you could have just like ran into here and like started blue pilling. Like that's even something like you could have just ran right to the wall, started blue pilling, and then if they come, then you can flash. So that's okay. But yeah, when you're playing Taric, like you need to initiate those ganks when a Mumu comes to your lane, and you're playing way too far back and just not reacting at all when a Mumu comes. So you just need to, you know, pay a little more attention for those jungle ganks, and really, really, you need to be up in front. You need to be initiating those. So. Yeah, so just don't even like talk. Like in solo queue, don't talk to your teammates like this. Like it's bad. Like nothing good is coming from this. Like Amu said, why don't you come and stun her? Because you're just like really mad. You're like, because you're effing retarded. I said I was Zoom, and you could have just said like I was Zoom instead of this first line. Like there's no reason to say this first line. And like all this is gonna do is it's gonna make your Amu mad, and it's gonna make him play worse. So like. This is bad. Don't ever do this in solo queue. This is the fastest way to lose games in solo queue. Is talking crap like this. And now you're asking for his elo? Like, I mean... No, you just need to stop. Yeah, like this, nothing good comes from this. This is the single fastest way to lose games is to talk shit like this. Like, it doesn't help at all. And, like, the worst case scenario is you make them rage quit and then you lose. And the best case scenario is like they mute you and now like you can't communicate. And that's it. So like why do it? And like you and your duo queue are like picking on this Amumu, like you're both picking on this Amumu. Your duo queue is mad because Amumu hasn't been giving her blue buff, but like Amumu needs blue buff, and like blue buff is nice on Ahri, but like she can deal fine without it. And like just don't do that. Like this Amumu is probably going to play like shit now because he's just like really frustrated that you guys are giving him such a hard time. And like both ganks, it's been on you that you're not up there. Like both ganks that Amumu's done bottom could have gone 100% differently if you were in a position where you could actually initiate it. But like once again, you're like this is not the positioning you want to have on Taric in lane. Like this is the position you have on like Soraka, like behind your AD carry because you're supporting your AD carry. But Taric, like you need to be in front because you need to be stunning when they try to poke, and you need to be shattering and ulting and everything. Like this is the positioning of like a heal bot carry support like Soraka. But when you're playing like Taric or an Alistar or an aggressive initiating support, this is not the positioning you want. You want to be up and aggressive and be in stun range of them. So. Yeah, like you guys are just like constantly talking to this Amumu, and you just need to stop. Like I'm not even joking. This is the fastest way to lose solo queue games is you just talk to your team like this. Alright, so 4-man gank is rough, but looks like Graves might be okay. This is a mistake by Ahri. Ahri should just be taking this turret right now. Like it's too late for Ahri to do much. She's not gonna pick up a kill. There's 4 people. And probably can't stop this turret. Once again, 4 people. But she could have easily gotten this mid turret. Like this mid turret was a free turret for Ahri to take, but instead, we're just gonna like futilely defend this turret, and like I said, not even gonna be able to defend this. So, yep, didn't even defend mid. So Ahri coming mid did nothing, and no kills. Didn't stop the turret. But if she stayed mid, free turret, easily free turret. So. And now they're doing a good job of pushing top. So because it sent 4 bottom, you guys could have had mid turret and pushed in this far on top. But instead, Ahri made the mistake of going bottom when it wasn't going to help, when she could have just taken mid turret. So. And then I want to comment on your warding. You've had like these 3 wards for like 10 minutes and you haven't used them. You need to use them. Like if you had Tribush warded, like I've been saying a few times, that 4-man gank you would have seen and totally avoided. But you didn't have Tribush warded. You've had these 3 wards and you haven't used them, so you haven't had Dragon warded. Like we have no idea if Dragon's up or if they've taken it. You haven't used CV in a while. So these are things to work. And another reason to take heal is if you're not used to using CV, and it's pretty obvious that you're not used to using CV. So you're not using it very effectively or very often. And in that situation, it's way better to just have like heal or something that's actually going to be useful in a clutch situation that you can remember. I'm just adding my website URL to the scrolling text real quick, so give me 1 second and then I'll get back to it again. Okay. Alright, so you use CV on the dragon, and we see that they did indeed take dragon, and that's something we would have known, excuse me, if you had that warded with one of the 3 wards. Yeah, okay, so now you warded here and here. So let me commentate on this ward placement. If you have this warded, don't put a ward in your tribush. Put a ward at dragon. Because if you have this warded and you have dragon warded, you see you'll see them come out of their jungle here. You'll see their mid go this way, and you'll see them enter your jungle here. So there's no way they can get in this tribush without you knowing where they are. So sorry, I missed that. I'm not really sure what happened. Looks like you got caught, but that's okay, because if they're blowing cooldowns on the support, which is what you are, then they're probably going to lose the fight, and it looks like they definitely are losing that fight. So looks also like it was 4v5 though. I don't know what happened to the Yorick, but that was a good fight for you guys. Anytime they focus like the support and you die first, that's probably good for your team. So that wasn't bad. I'd probably go Heart of Gold instead of Cages on Taric. AP, I love AP on Taric, but you need to be tanky because you're melee range support, so you definitely need to be tanky. Another thing I want to comment on, GA is bad on a Mumu. GA is not an item for tanks. A lot of lower level people think that GA is a tank item. It's not. Because there's as a tank, you're gonna die last. And once you die as the last person, it doesn't matter if you have GA, because you just revive and you die again. So tank should be dying last, and therefore GA is not helpful. GA is very good on champions who get focused first, so. It's a good easy kill on this Yorick, good stun. You guys should be able to get this Ezreal. I guess backing off is a decent play because you only see Tryndamere, so we don't know where Cass or Jhin is, and we don't have any vision on the map, so. But yeah, back to this ward placement. This Tribush ward was useless. You should have warded a dragon instead of this Tribush ward, but that's okay. That flash is probably unnecessary. You stunned the Cass and could have just kept running. I think you're out of range. You should be CVing into these bushes right now. You could have... Okay, well, they didn't take much damage from that Cass, but anytime they run into bushes, that's a great use for CV. I'm still counting your useful CVs. We'll count it as 1, because you saw that they took dragon. But so far, that's it for uses of CV that were helpful. And now you guys have 5 bot, you're going to lose top end mid turrets. And this is what I was saying before, Ahri should have stayed mid before, because she could have gone mid turret, and that's what you see these guys doing. They're putting pressure on these lanes, so that the fact that you have 5 bottom is going to cost you a lot. Or they're probably not going to be able to get this turret, because the Cass is up, and Ez is up now, and Yorick's up in 10 seconds, so you guys are not going to be able to get this turret. So you just traded 1-for-1 turrets. Riven should not have died there. That was really bad. And now Mumu's going to die? You guys should not have gotten caught right here. This is really poor play by your team, but that's okay. You guys should be able to pick up the Xin Chao kill, for sure. Ahri's doing not very much damage. This is one of the problems I have with the Rallies build on Ahri. It's just not that much damage. But that's okay. She's also behind with only 100 CS, but your team just got rolled bottom. So, that's a really big mistake by your team. You traded 1-for-1 turrets, but then, lost a lot of people because they got too greedy pushing. So the enemy team played that really well by keeping pressure on top and mid while you guys had 5 bottom. Because what happens is, in that situation, their people are going to respawn pretty soon. And so it's really hard to push more than one turret because they're going to respawn quickly. But you guys either have to back or stop pushing. And you had 2 people back and only 3 people keep pushing. So you were able to save the mid turret, but not the top turret. And then a lot of people died, so. Yeah, Grave should have gotten an early Vamp Scepter, that is true, especially against such a high poke team, but you guys really screwed your lane over when you face checked that bush at level 1. That really was a huge mistake, and that really set the lane in the other team's favor. Looks like Ezreal is actually like 40 CS behind the Graves, so the Graves actually did a really good job of CSing under his turret and CSing despite all that pressure. So that's really good play on his part, but like that just shows you that if you hadn't face checked that, you guys could have had a serious advantage in lane. So it looks like you're building your Aegis of the Legion first. I would probably build Shirelia's Reverie first. Shirelia's Reverie, I can't stress how good of an item it is. The move speed buff is amazing. It's so helpful to initiate. Like move speed buff plus a Mumu, so easy to initiate. It's so helpful to run away and kite. Like Ahri is so great at kiting, and Graves is pretty good too. And if you give them like Shirelia's move speed buff, that was a really good ulti by Mumu, catching both Ez and Cass. You shouldn't have ran melee range into Cassiopeia like that though. You should have known that ulti was coming. So that was definitely a mistake, but your team's still going to clean up, so it's okay. Yeah, you do insta-die every fight, and that's something like if you went Heart of Gold, you'd be tankier. And like just positioning wise, like it was silly to run right in front of that Cassiopeia because then she hadn't ultied yet. And like you should just know, like, to keep in mind what abilities the enemies have and what they've used and what they haven't used. So you should know, like, okay, Cass still has ult. She's probably gonna ult any second now, and that's not the time to just run right into her. So. Proper use of CD guide would be good. That's a good idea. I do need ideas for new guides, so. So at this point, you guys really need to establish Baron control and keep really good wards on Baron. Yep, that's very important. Another thing you could have just done, since you left base with like 1,000 gold, you could have picked up an Oracles. Now's a very good time to have Oracles. You are dying a lot in fights though, and so it's kind of risky because your positioning has just been off, so you die in almost every fight. But so in general, like when you're playing Taric, like the reason why you're dying so fast is you're just way too close to everything. You need to like stun, and if it's absolutely safe, you can get in range to shatter and do your R, but you need to stun and then like run back until like it's safe and you're sure you're not going to get focused, and then you run in and WR. Oh, this is a dead cast. Like you could flash stun this cast, and that cast would be so dead. You could have easily flash stunned that cast for completely dead cast, and that would have gotten you Baron and possibly won you the game. So look for those initiates. That's one thing that Taric is really good at. Like she only had Yorick with her, and your whole team was there. And like Ahri can go over walls. I don't think Riven can go over that wall. Graves could go over that wall though, and Mumu could go over that. Like if you stunned, Mumu could land that bandage toss. So. Yeah, you should go RW on Taric, because it'll increase your damage of your W a little bit. It's a good point, thank you, from IRC. Riven can go over this wall, I think. There's like one wall Riven can go over in the game, and it's this one, I think. With her shield. Yeah, and like, you see how Mumu is still not giving Ari blue? That comes from you guys, like, you guys pissed him off. That's exactly why he's taking this blue, because you really made him mad. Like, you guys were talking all this shit to him, and he's mad, and he's like shutting down and not giving Ari blue buff now. And so, this is why I said, like, the fastest way to lose solo queue games is to talk shit, because people get mad and they do stuff like that. And that's completely on you and your duo queue, buddy, for, like, talking shit to him. And that's why you just don't do it. You just chill, you don't say anything back, or anything like that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Riven can go over, like, this wall. Like, the thinnest walls in the game. Maybe this wall. Maybe it's this wall I'm thinking of, like, right here, here. Very thin walls Riven can go through with her shield, I think. I know. I'll test it in a custom game later, but I'm pretty sure that maybe it wasn't Riven, but it's someone with a dash move that, like, everyone thinks can't go through any walls, can actually go through, like, one wall on the map. That was a really good ulti by Mumu, catching Cass and Cass and Jin. Ez is still alive, but it's okay. It's like, don't, like, sit here and melee champions as Taric. Like, in general, like, that's not what you want to do. You're so squishy, you're just generally going to die if you sit there and melee. Your team's pretty far ahead, though, so, like, you're going to win team fights doing whatever. But, in general, like, you need to play Taric like an AP mage. You don't sit there and auto-attack. You use your spells and get the hell out. And then use your spells, then get the hell out. Yeah, so you guys are definitely in a really good spot to win this game. Right now you guys are kind of low, so you have to be careful of pushing too far, getting forced back, and then the enemy team taking Baron. Like, yeah, you guys are getting caught right now, and it's a good heal. That was a very good heal. And Moom is still going to go down. And oh my, GA might actually be useful for the Mumu. Nope, he's still going to die. That's why I say GA is bad on tanks. You guys are actually going to clean up pretty well, though. So Riven's really, really big right now. And it sucks you're out of mana right now. You could be doing a lot more. But you guys are staying way too long right now. Way too long. Can't believe Ari's still alive. What? Ez just needed one right click. Okay, he died to York. Cool. But okay, so you guys have been in their base for like 3 minutes. There's no way this should have worked for you guys. You guys should have definitely died, but the enemy team is just playing pretty poorly. But I mean, in that situation, like, it's risky because, like, they should have been able to force you off of this inhibitor and then taken Baron because you would have had to back. But this game, you got 2 inhibitors down. That means that you're pretty much going to get free Baron if you want it. Moom is saying you don't need, which is true. You guys don't need Baron. But this is a pretty good game. As far as your Taric play, you need to be the one who initiates ganks when jungles come to your lane. You need to be sitting up front, ready in stun range. Your positioning in lane, you've been like really far back, like behind the graves, and that's the positioning for like a little girly support like Soraka. But when you're playing, like a manly support like Alistar, Taric, or these really aggressive CC supports, you need to have you need to be out like in front, ready to stun. And you need to establish bush control. Like, you should not let this Yorick sit in this bush. That's your bush. And that totally comes from you face checking right here at level 1 and causing you and Graves to get dropped to like half health right away. And because of that, like, you guys did not have bush control all game. Like, you came back to base after you healed and you were still playing really passive and scared. And you shouldn't be. Like, you should realize that's a poke team. The longer you're afraid of them and sit back, the more that lane's going to win. Like, when you guys came back at level 3, you should have just fought them. But you guys were really afraid, even though, like, you had item advantage on Graves and everything. Alright, well, Mumu hit the smite, but that was a mistake by Mumu. Like, if you're doing Baron and the enemy team comes to contest, you just get off Baron and fight them. There's no reason for Mumu to sit there and keep doing the Baron, but that's alright. Yeah, so that should be game. Yeah, just so closing remarks on your Taric play. Try going Heart of Gold instead of Cages. Consider finishing Shurelya's before working on your Aegis. Work on your warding. Like, look up some guides on warding and proper ward placement. If you have this warded, you don't need Tribush warded. You need this and Dragon give you complete ward coverage for bottom lane. They can't gank you without you knowing if you ward this and Dragon. Or Dragon and Tribush. It's Dragon and one of these, not both of them. Don't face check at level 1, especially when you have CV. Not really any excuse there when you have a CV, so. Other than that, yeah, you played a pretty decent Taric game. In teamfights, try not to melee too much, and like play like a mage. You use your cooldowns and you back off until you have cooldowns again, and so on. So. Yeah, and just do R and then W, since it'll increase the damage on your W. But not a bad game. I'm gonna go ahead and end the replay here. Gonna go ahead and end the recording. There's currently a debate in IRC. I'm claiming that Riven can jump over like one wall on the map, and people do not believe me. So maybe I'll take a detour to go test this out in a custom game really quick.